Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jerry for the flush.
We're going to need, the form rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane three. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Justin Timberlake.
I'm bringing sexy back.
The Forget Tomorrow World Tour. Live in Memphis. Justin Timberlake. FedEx Forum, Saturday, November 23rd. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new single Selfish is available to stream and download now.
If I get jealous, I can't help it.
For more, hit up justintimberlake.com.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Kansas City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I know it was a slightly later than normal start last night, but I hope you stayed up to watch the fourth quarter of the Grizzlies season opener up in Salt Lake City, because if so, you were treated to the John Morant show. In game one of a scheduled 82, he did one thing after another that reminded me, you, and the rest of the world, I hope, that when healthy, he is one of the few people on the planet who can do the types of stuff he was doing in Salt Lake City last night. Victory in the season opener. The Grizzlies are 1-0. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. When we finish this opening segment, we're going to take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, I spent yesterday, if you were wondering why I'm in Kansas City, I spent yesterday at the Big 12 Media Day here inside the T-Mobile Center. Memphis actually came up multiple times. I'll tell you why. We'll do that in about 20 minutes. The NBA is reportedly expected to open an investigation into Joel Embiid's player participation. Another weird NBA story. I'll give you the details in just a bit. Former President Barack Obama told Tyrese Halliburton on a podcast that that it's time for he and other NBA All-Stars to take the NBA All-Star game more seriously. I'll give you the full quote. We'll do that in the next segment. North Carolina State quarterback Grayson McCall, he announced yesterday that he's going to retire from football after his latest head injury. I'll share his words with you. We'll do that a little later on in the show. And we have a new Dear Jane to discuss. It involves body counts. I'll run you through the entire situation. We'll see what Bennett thinks about it. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies, because game one of a scheduled 82, it was held last night up in Salt Lake City. Final score, Grizz 126, Jazz 124. Ja Morant had 2 crazy assists and 1 ridiculous drive and finish in the final minutes to secure the season open victory. By the time it was over, he had taken 12 shots, made 7 of them, finished with 22 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds in 28 minutes, hung in the air in unusual ways. He went behind the back in unusual ways. Simply put, Ja Morant reminded me, you, and the rest of the world, I think, that when healthy and focused, he still does things other folks can't do more regularly than anybody other than maybe Victor Wembanyama. Like, Wemby can rank number 1 on that list, fine. I'm not going to argue, but Ja, he got to be up there pretty high. Big Bet Bennett, I know you were locked into the season opener. I assume you were encouraged by what you saw from the franchise point guard.
Yeah, I was really encouraged. I mean, first and foremost, I'm glad we got through a game and nobody got hurt. Like, that was pretty great.
Isn't that nice? Nice?
That was really nice. And yeah, man, just that fourth quarter. Like, first off, good Lord, man. Like, it was a fun game through 3 quarters, and then the refs just, like, ruined that fourth quarter. I swear to God, there was free throws every single possession for the whole fourth quarter, and that was pretty ugly to watch. But it was cool seeing Ja and Dez really take over that fourth quarter. Like, your 2 stars, like, really carried it the rest of the way. And Ja looked awesome, man. The like reverse layup that he had was insane in that fourth quarter, and he looks great. I mean, I think he's again, we always say barring injury, but I think he's got a chance to have a really special season.
That's how you end up with the $200 million contracts. That's why you end up on billboards and signature shoes, because when he's on the court, he is electrifying. And in that fourth quarter, whether it was creating easy scoring opportunities for others, Santi Aldama among them, or just going and finishing at the rim, all of that stuff was on display afterwards. Delivered another terrific quote. He said, "My phone is always in my pocket, ready to answer. The ringer is on too." That, of course, is in reference to the Call 12 stuff. So he was great. Like, I think you saw everything you wanted to see out of him last night in those 28 minutes. I did say, Bennett, that I know you were locked in last night. That is just an assumption. I haven't talked to you about it. I gather some people were having television issues. Did you have any television issues? Because I'll tell you, up here, I had no issues at all.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah, I believe people were having some issues last night. I was not one of them because I'm still a little indecisive on the route that I want to go. But the FanDuel Sports Network had a 7-day free trial on their app yesterday. So I did that, and it was great. It worked great for me last night on the app. And so I'm still trying to decide which direction I want to go, but it worked for me last night, so I might just stick with that.
I wanted to bring that up because what's fair is fair. That Bally Sports app took a beating over the years. You know that.
It definitely did. The app worked good for me last night. FanDuel Sports Network app looked good.
I seen people really drag that Bally Sports app's name through the mud.
For sure.
I seen that Bally Sports app get online bullied quite a bit. I seen that Bally Sports app name get disparaged quite often. And so I'm here to say, as somebody who watched game one in a hotel room in Kansas City on an iPad, I was on that FanDuel Sports Network app, and it worked. No problems whatsoever. I connected through my provider, and I was smooth sailing.
Good.
I felt like I was at home, but I wasn't. I was in a hotel room. FanDuel Sports Network app, through one game, I'll give it 2 thumbs up.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up too. So yeah, everything was crystal clear.
Crystal clear on my end too. Hey, I mentioned Santi Aldama. He actually was the leading scorer last night. He started in place of Jaren Jackson Jr., took 16 shots, made 10 of them, finished with 27 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 5 of 10 from 3, plus 8 in 31 minutes. Nobody was on the court more. Nobody launched more threes. Nobody made more threes. That's what you want from a reserve, any reserve who is suddenly thrust into an elevated role, in this case because of a hamstring injury to Jaren Jackson Jr. Step up, show you're capable, and Santi did that last night. And the fact that it comes after an impressive Summer Olympics in Paris, in which he led Spain in points per game, rebounds. He was their most efficient player. The fact that what we saw last night comes after that makes it, I think, a little more encouraging than it otherwise would be, because it suggests there might be some like real substance to it. Bennett, we said at Media Day, Santi sat down with us at the desk. People were wondering, he was hoping that what we saw in the Olympics, can it carry over to the regular season? Can you do in a Grizzlies uniform what we just watched you do in your national team uniform? And again, just one game, but like it's an encourageable game. I know I always hear people say, hey, it was only one game, but you'd always rather have this kind of one game than the other kind of one game. He stepped up and served a big role. And hopefully when Jaren is healthy, then what he was able to provide last night in the starting role, you can get that kind of stuff off the bench. Nice opener for Santi, right?
Yeah, I mean, he clearly has confidence from the summer, like you said. And I think, too, like when we talked to him, we asked him about the new offense, and he kind of lit up. Like he seemed very, very excited about playing in this offense. And I think, too, I said to Lang yesterday, the three ball is going to be everything for him, right? Like he's a big that can stretch the floor. He's going to get open threes in this offense. He's 5 of 10 last night. You'll take that. You'll take that every game from Santi. And so I think that this has potential to be something that maybe not 27 points a night, but something that can be consistent throughout the season is him being a big contributor coming off the bench.
I thought what we saw last night as well was somebody who is very familiar with playing with Ja Morant, because he got multiple like easy dunks, just layup stuff, simply by understanding who he's playing with. We haven't seen Ja regularly in a while, and neither have the people who were on the court with him last night in Jazz uniforms. And so I guess it's easy to forget when he gets into the air, he can stay there longer than most people. Like I had a tweet queued up last night, and then I just hit delete because sometimes, you don't need to say something about everything. But I was like, hey, a lot of discussion about the Grizzlies offense all preseason. My favorite Grizzlies offense is when Ja Morant jumps into the air, everybody jumps with him. He hangs in the air longer than everybody else and then dumps it off to Santi for a dunk. Like that was happening regularly last night. And what you could see is that Santi knew he's in the air. That's a bad basketball play, by the way, for like 99% of people in the world.
Right.
Like jumping into the air when you don't really know what's coming next is not something they teach you at any level. We have to talk to our little baseball players about this all the time, because they will watch baseball, and the way the big leaguers do it, like the way Ronald Acuna catches a fly ball, is not the way you would be teaching a 7-year-old to catch a fly ball. The way Francisco Lindor fields a ground ball isn't necessarily the way you would teach a 7-year-old to catch a ground ball. It's that they're so skilled they can do it that way, but you shouldn't try to do it that way. Get in front of the ball. Nothing needs to be out here to decide. Watching Ja is very similar. You can watch him play, be amazed by him, and then tap your son or daughter on the shoulder and say, don't do that. That's not something you can do. But it is something he can do. He can get into the air in a way that is almost always counterproductive for normal basketball players, leads to turnovers, bad passes, and he just hangs there and watches everybody else fall. And Santi, again, multiple times last night, just knew where to be into space. Everybody else is jumping with Ja. Santi knows where to get into space, dump it off, easy dunk. That's how he ended up. It's among the reasons, at least, he ended up as last night's leading scorer. So he was encouraging. Ja was encouraging. We've spent a lot of time all summer, preseason, talking about Zach Edey, so it's only fair to point out that it wasn't the best debut in the history of NBA rookies. He was 2 of 4 from the field, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 fouls in 15 minutes. If you were concerned that he's going to have trouble staying on the court, in part because he's going to have trouble not fouling, well, I guess you were right, at least through game one. We saw a lot of that last night.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly going to be something that he's going to have to work through, the fouls. Going back to what I said earlier, I did think the refs just like ruined that fourth quarter. I mean, they were calling fouls every possession, so I think that's a little bit a part of it. But it's something he's going to get used to, and it's going to be super interesting to see what he looks like next to Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, does that take away some of the emphasis that the other team's putting on Zach Edey like they were last night? I mean, Walker Kessler obviously got the best of him last night. Does that look different when Jaren's on the floor too? I think it probably does. So yeah, it wasn't a good NBA debut, but I don't think it's something that's just going to be an issue necessarily all season once they're at full strength.
Oh, we could come back Friday night and it looks different then. It was one basketball game. Just like you said, Santi Aldama's probably not going to average 27 points per game this season. Zach Edey's probably not going to commit 6 fouls in 15 minutes on average this season. It was just one basketball game. We'll hope Santi continues to do on Friday what he did on Wednesday. And for Zach, we'll just hope that that game 2 is better than game 1.
Also, I don't know if no rookies were good last night, by the way. I'm not excusing it, but I'm like, you just look across the league last night and like none of the rookies really did that much.
It's hard. It's a hard adjustment. If you didn't know it, just think back to the WNBA season. Caitlin Clark's team started 0 for 5, and she couldn't make a shot. By the end of the year, they were one of the better teams in the league, and she was first-team All-NBA. Even if you are that, and by that I mean somebody who is capable of being first-team All-WNBA as a rookie, even if you are that, and Zach Edey's not that. Zach Edey was never going to be first-team All-NBA as a rookie. No, you wouldn't put that on any rookie ever in the NBA. That's how special and uniquely talented Caitlin Clark is on the other side. But even when you are as talented as her, it's a hard adjustment. And we were reminded of it with her. Last night was a reminder from Zach Edey. Great thing about the NBA, though, the games come at you one after another, just like that. You ain't got to sit around and think about your not so encouraging game 1 too long, because game 2 right around the corner. It is actually tomorrow in Houston. The Rockets are 0-1 after a 110-105 season-opening loss to Charlotte. But Alfred Şengün, 25 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. They just got him on a big contract extension that seemed to be team-friendly. And then he goes out and does 25-18 in the season opener. And then, of course, after that one's done, we get the home opener inside FedEx Forum. That's Saturday against the Orlando Magic. Nothing official, but that is when most people, myself included, believe that Jaren Jackson Jr. will make his season debut. We're just using context clues here, I guess. On Tuesday, they say that, or on Monday, rather, they say that Jaren Jackson Jr. isn't going to play on Wednesday, but he is going to play later this week. Well, after Wednesday, there's only 2 games later this week. It's Friday and Saturday. No way you're playing both games in a back-to-back with a bad hamstring this early in the season, maybe not even late in the season. So he's not going to play in both of those. If he's not going to play in both of those, why not just give him the extra day off in Houston and then allow him to make his regular season debut Saturday at home against Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic. Again, nothing official, but most people seem to think that's the direction we're headed. And Banchero, by the way, awesome in Orlando's season opener. The Magic won in Miami, 116-97. Banchero, 33 points, 11 rebounds on 12 of 24 shooting. He was plus 42. I talked about this before when I take my boys to FedEx Forum for NBA games. I like it usually to be centered around stars. Like I want them to see Nikola Jokic. I want them to see Anthony Edwards. Paolo's getting into that. He's getting into that group, man. He's clearly going to be special. He's clearly going to be awesome.
I watched that game last night, and he's. It looks like he's going to take a step this season. I think he is going to actually turn into one of those guys, like you said, that becomes a premier ticket over the next at least couple seasons, because he's definitely turning into a star in the Eastern Conference. I also think, speaking of that Rockets game, I think tomorrow night's got the potential to be a little testy, GP. I do. I think it's
because of the presence of Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams.
Yeah, and Steven didn't play last night. I don't know. I'm looking at but I didn't see their game last night, but he didn't play. So we'll see if he plays in this game tomorrow night, but Dylan Brooks was bad. He 1 of 6, 2 points. So, and that's a bad loss for them, right? Like, that's a team that wants to take a step in the Western Conference. You open your season losing at home to the Charlotte Hornets, like they're going to really want that one tomorrow night. So I think it's got potential to be a little testy.
Well, hey, listen, you're focusing on the wrong stuff. Dylan Brooks was what, 1 of 6, you said?
Yes.
Well, he only took 6 shots. That's what I heard. That's encouraging.
He was plus 14. I mean, shoot, dude. Like,
that
actually is kind of positive.
Bennett, he was out there doing the little things that don't show up in the box score.
Right.
He was out there doing the little things that don't show up in the box score. Grizzlies Rockets tomorrow night down in Houston. Bennett's pessimistic, but not me. What I see is
I'm optimistic. I just think it could get a little testy. I think it get a little testy.
I see. I've already seen a number posted on it. Houston -1.5. You're going to make the Grizzlies with Superman John Morant in the fourth quarter.
Get the hell out of here.
An underdog, disrespectful. How long are you going to keep disrespectful before you turn the corner? Huh? How long?
It's true.
It's true. The truth is the truth, Bennett. The truth is the truth. I expect the Grizzlies to improve to 2-0 in Houston tomorrow night and then come home for the home opener against the Magic with a 0 still in the loss column. When we come back, the reason I'm not sitting there right across from Bennett's beard is because I'm in Kansas City. And the reason I'm in Kansas City is because Big 12 Media Day was here yesterday at the T-Mobile Center. Buddy, they don't do media days like they used to. These things are like parties. Now, legitimately had a DJ at the media day, like a guy, he was just right there. Like you could go over there and put in a request if you wanted to. It was a big event, fun event. The University of Memphis actually came up a couple of times in random conversations I had. I'll tell you about that next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
We have not talked to you since we got the big fella that's going to go next to you. What has impressed you about him, though? Just being on the same court with him, because you've watched him a lot in college. You got to see him. We got to see him very, very little in summer league.
Very quick twitch, like decision making. Yeah. No real fear of anything. Like very vocal, able to talk through the game. But I mean, like, dude won Player of the Year twice. Like
I know.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get them.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
The reason I'm not in Memphis, inside the Built Ford Tough studio, sitting across from Bennett Doyle and his beard, is because I'm in Kansas City. And the reason I'm in Kansas City is because Big 12 Media Day was here yesterday, less than 2 weeks until the start of the regular season. Big time extravaganza here. They do it inside T-Mobile Center, which is here in downtown Kansas City, which is beautiful, by the way. You spent any time in Kansas City, Bennett?
I've never been to Kansas City in my life. I'd like to go one day. That's like one of those just blind spots that I'd like to go through Kansas City one day. It seems like it's popping off there.
I've been here a few times. I've frozen to death inside Arrowhead Stadium before.
So who is that all like Jayhawks fans? What do they love there?
They certainly love the Jayhawks here. There's obviously Kansas State alums here.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a weird deal. I was actually talking to, the big Kansas City sports radio station here, because I do normal spots with them during the season. That's how big college basketball is. Like, they want somebody to talk college basketball regularly.
Yeah.
But imagine their situation as a producer of a sports show. You know what this is like. The Chiefs are undefeated and back-to-back Super Bowl champs. But also, Big 12 Media Day is in their market. They have the preseason number 1 team, Kansas Jayhawks. What do you do? Like, okay, you're talking to Andy Reid or Bill Self?
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is both, but like, there's a lot going on with Kansas.
Yeah, what's the A block, right?
Yeah, what's the A block? So there's a lot going on. So they do it at the T-Mobile Center, which is right here in downtown Kansas City. I just went walking around the past couple of nights, like, just very clean and you don't. We talk a lot about crime, you don't feel any real sense of that. You don't really bump into a homeless problem. It's just, I don't know. The downtown Kansas City seems fine to me. And then inside the arena for Media Day, it's a big production. Like, they really prioritize this and make it a big deal. And I wrote a column off of it, sort of just explaining how we really might be about to watch the greatest conference in the history of college basketball conferences. The Big 12 has rated out in the computers as the best league in the country 3 straight years, and 9 of the past 11 years. They've had at least 7 teams in the NCAA tournament 10 straight years. They've had a number 1 seed in each of the past 4 NCAA tournaments. 2 of the past 4 national champions come from the Big 12. This has consistently been, for more than a decade, the best conference in college basketball. And this upcoming season really could be the best because, they've made some additions, most notably Arizona, the reigning Pac-12 champs, preseason top 10 team. They have 5 teams in the top 10 of the preseason AP poll. Literally 50% of the top 10 is the Big 12. The Big 12 in men's basketball is very much like the SEC in football in the sense that it dominates the top of the rankings. You got number 1 Kansas, number 4 Houston, number 5 Iowa State. So 3 of the top 5. And then number 8, Baylor, number 10, Arizona, 3 of the top 5, 5 of the top 10. And here's the other thing that's wild. And this is what most coaches will tell you makes the league just very difficult to navigate. It's not that you've got to play Kansas. It's not that you got to play Houston. It's that you don't get to play any bad teams.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at it, dude. Like, again, like you got to go to Oklahoma State. You got to go to West Virginia. Like, those are like the 2 teams that finished last season. And I'm like, I'd love to play either of those teams.
Okay, so
right.
Every single Big 12 team is in the top 90 at KenPom. So every road game is going to be against a top 90 team. Just to put this into perspective, in the American Athletic Conference, there are only 3 teams inside the top 90, Memphis, North Texas, and UAB. Everybody else is outside of the top 90. But in the Big 12, everybody is inside the top 90. Ted Boyle at Colorado told a funny story yesterday. Somebody asked him, like, what's the biggest difference between playing in the Pac-12 and playing in the Big 12? Because Colorado is one of these weird situations where they were in the Big 12, left, to go to the Pac-12 and now coming back to the Big 12.
Yep.
Conference realignment's always goofy. So Ted said, here's the biggest difference. He said, we're at Colorado in our last year in the Pac-12 in the Big 12 before we moved to the Pac-12. We're playing at Iowa State on senior night. It's their senior night. So it's our last road game of the year. We're on the bubble. We're at Iowa State. Iowa State's 2-12 in the conference at this point, 2-12. So you're in the last week of the regular season. You're on the road against a team that's 2-12 in conference, 1-11 or 1-10, and it's past 11 games. If ever there's supposed to be an easy road game in your league, this should be it.
Yeah.
If ever there should be a half-empty building in your league, this should be it. He said, we go there, the building's sold out. Like they're 2-12, they're 1-10 in their last 11. It doesn't matter. The building's still sold out. They beat us. He said they didn't beat us. That building beat us. Their team wasn't as talented as ours, wasn't as good as ours. We just got beat by the building. In the Big 12, you get beat by the building a lot. And in the Pac-12, if you were playing somebody in the last week of the regular season that is 2-12 in the conference, that building's going to be empty. But in the Big 12, that building is probably still going to be full and crazy. There's no easy games anywhere. So that was sort of among the themes coming out of Big 12 Media Day, just the strength of the league. However you evaluate conferences, the strength at the top, the lack of garbage at the bottom, the depth throughout, the Big 12 is going to grade out super well. And this really could be what's on tap, the best season in the history of the Big 12. For whatever it's worth, Bill Self has won 16 Big 12 regular season titles. Nobody knows that league better than him. Nobody has ever dominated that league quite like him. He has the number one team in the AP poll. He's won 16 regular season Big 12 titles. And he told me yesterday, if we win it this year, it will have been the hardest Big 12 title we've ever won.
Yeah.
And he's got the preseason number one team. And he knows that winning it this year will be more challenging than it has been in any other year. Randomly, Memphis came up a couple of times. I just always think it's interesting to hear what outsiders are saying about Memphis. First, I spent some time with Brett Yormark. He's the Big 12 commissioner. And you start talking about Memphis because he knows where I live. And I sort of joke around like, oh, yeah, man, they've been begging for you to come down there. He's like, do you realize I've never been to Memphis? I've never been to Memphis in my life.
Well, that contradicts some stuff.
Yeah. So there's that for whatever that's worth.
Right.
That was a big thing in this market once upon a time. That the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark, has come to Memphis to visit Memphis. I'm telling you, I spent time with Brett Yormark yesterday. Do you know what he told me? I've never been to Memphis. I've just never been there.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't mean he'll never come, but he said he's never been. And then secondly, I cannot tell you how many coaches pulled me aside and said, please tell me they didn't give Tyreek Smith $500,000.
Dude, okay. You know what's crazy about that too is I saw his I don't know. I guess it's his mentor who's been the one who was posting stuff.
Sure.
I saw a quote that said he said they turned down a $900,000 offer. I'm like, what? Like that's
you ready?
I don't believe that. I do not believe that.
Let me say two things. One, I don't know. How could I know?
Right.
How could I know? That acknowledged. Two, nobody believes that. Nobody. If this is the best men's basketball conference in the country, I had some of the best men's basketball coaches in the country yesterday face to face with me, and they said, what are they doing? They already gave him $175,000, and they still owe him an amount of money that's going to exceed approximately $500,000. Like, I can't tell you how many Big 12 coaches were like, that's just not small. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. They were just like, what? The guy averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds for whatever SMU team. He's never been a meaningful part of success anywhere, and he's already a problem.
Yeah.
They were like,
I hope he's good.
Listen, we're spending more money than Memphis on players. This is more or less what I was left with. Hey, listen, we're spending more money than Memphis on players.
Sure,
so why did they
Big 12 money, yeah.
Yeah, they got Big 12 money, right? This is the impression I'm left with. Yeah, we're out there buying players too. We're buying them more expensive players than Memphis. But my God, why are they spending that much money on that guy? That's what multiple Big 12. I couldn't find one Big 12 coach who wasn't blown away. I mean, I don't mean like they were like, yeah, man, that might not have been money well spent. I mean, they were like, what in the world? Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
Hey, it's their money, but in excess of $500,000 for that guy is crazy.
Oh, I think that they're going to regret taking this whole thing public. If he's not awesome, like, people are going to bring this up all the time. They are.
Oh, yeah, he'd be the most expensive bench player in the country.
Yeah. So
yeah,
if I was them, I would not have like made this thing something that it didn't have to be, because now that that's out there, people are going to use that against him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Unless he's awesome. You know, I hope he's awesome.
If he was awesome, we wouldn't even be talking about this stuff.
Sure.
But like, it sort of echoes what I said earlier in the week. A lot of schools and the collectives and the players and the agents have issues, misunderstandings, disagreements. Keep it behind the scenes. Keep it quiet, because it's going public. It's not good for anybody. Mm-hmm. This is like you and your wife fighting on Facebook and then getting back together tomorrow. All right.
You tell me some good stories about that.
It's not good it's just embarrassing. Yeah. It just makes you look silly, you know? Like most married couples are going to have disagreements from time to time. You know, I'd keep them off social media, if I were you, because if you end up staying together, then it's just going to look silly. That's what this is. Like, this could have been handled quietly. It was handled very publicly, and now you're staying together, but everybody looks ridiculous. Memphis looks ridiculous for paying $500,000 for somebody who nobody thinks is worth it. And Tyreek Smith looks ridiculous for complaining, even though he might be the most overpaid college basketball player in the country. Like, everybody looks outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't. Hey, I wish him luck, though.
I do too.
I wish him luck. I hope it ends well, but it hasn't started great. We can agree on that.
It has not.
Number 3.
Oh, hang on.
Number 2.
The NBA is likely to begin an investigation later this week in the Philadelphia 76ers surrounding the player participation of All-NBA center Joel Embiid. Shams Charania reported that yesterday afternoon as the NBA season day 2 was getting underway. They can investigate it all they want. What are they going to do? Bennett, you're a smart guy, Bennett. What are they going to do about this?
I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I don't know what you can do, because on one hand, if you're the Sixers, this guy's been with your organization for a long time. You know his injury history. You know he is probably not capable of playing an 82-game basketball season, right? Like, I think we know that. We have a huge sample size of Joel Embiid seasons at this point. If you're on the NBA side, it's like, wait a second, this guy's healthy, but you're resting him because you're worried about what could potentially happen to him, and we want our stars playing in NBA games. So I don't know what you do. I don't think if you're the league, you can really do anything. I mean, I guess technically they could, but if you're the Sixers, I think you just say, okay, I mean, I guess fine us, but we're trying to win a championship. Like, we're not going to play this guy 82 games. It's not going to happen.
I just don't understand how you're going to get to a place as a league where you can tell organizations what to do with their employees to this degree. And once again, this is a NBA story, an NBA issue. It's not something we talk about in other sports. Like, the NBA's got a lot of this stuff that we talk about. It's not great. We don't talk about it in other sports. Like, in the NFL, they don't have to beg franchises to get the stars to play. The stars want to play. If they can play, they do. This is not, in the Major League Baseball, they don't have to investigate why, Ronald Acuna is not playing in Atlanta. If he's healthy enough to play, he plays. There were reports as this baseball season was unfolding that Shohei Ohtani, after having arm surgery after last season, had been throwing in bullpens, facing, hitters, and that, like, theoretically it's not clear that Shohei Ohtani couldn't start game 1 of the World Series on the mound for the Dodgers if the Dodgers wanted him to. Like, if you went to the doctors and said, is he healthy enough to do it? They might say yes. But obviously the Dodgers aren't going to pitch him because they've already made a decision he's not pitching this season. Even if he's healthy enough to pitch this season, he's not pitching this season because we're the ones paying him $700 million, and that's the way we want to handle this situation. Can you imagine Major League Baseball coming in and investigating, trying to find out right now whether Shohei Ohtani's healthy enough to pitch, and if he is, then punishing the Dodgers somehow because they're choosing not to pitch him? Like that's what we're talking about here. The Sixers, Joel Embiid is a Sixers employee. He works in the NBA. He is a Sixers employee, and they have decided this is, for us to reach our goals, this is the path we prefer to take. How do you get in the middle of that?
You know what I think is going to happen? If the league decides when they do this investigation that the Sixers are doing something wrong and they're going to fine them, I bet you know what they're going to do. They're going to put him out there for like 2 minutes in a game that he wasn't going to play. They're going to put him out there for 2 minutes and then sit him the rest of the game.
But here's the thing: what is wrong? Like like I get into conversations with people all the time. I'm like, we got to eliminate the vague terms. Let's get specific.
Yep.
What is so? You say if they do something wrong, what is wrong? What's wrong? I don't. Again, I can't fault them because they know. Like I said, they know he can't play in 82 games. So they're going to sit him, and they're doing what's best for their franchise to try to win a championship. Like me as a fan, I want to see Joel Embiid play, but how can you can't put him out there. You can't put him out there every night. You know that if you're the Sixers. I don't know anything. I know except for this. They have decided it's not in their best interest. How do you get in the middle of that? I mean, and like, where does this stop? Okay, they're investigating Philadelphia right now because of the way they're handling Joel Embiid. Are they? What if Jaren Jackson doesn't play Friday or Saturday? Is Shams going to report they're going to investigate the Grizzlies because of the way they're handling Jaren Jackson? Like, where do you stop with this stuff?
It's a good point. Like, I mean, how do you police that? I don't know. I don't know how they do.
I think when you get to a point as a league where you are trying to figure out how to prevent people from not playing, you need to take a bigger look at what you're doing and try to understand better why multiple franchises think it is in their best interest for their star players not to play. Like, you need to look at that. Stop complaining about how they're handling the situation you've created.
Right.
And try to figure out how to fix it instead of trying to figure out how to tell them not to do it this way. It's a little bit like, and again, these are very apples and oranges, but in baseball, at some point, Major League Baseball franchises learned how to consume data and apply it to defensive strategies. Mm-hmm. And you had a shift in baseball, and everybody hated it. Everybody was like, man, I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish the shortstop would play shortstop and not be over here on this side of the field next to the second, the first baseman standing on first, the second baseman's in shallow right, the shortstop's playing second base. I wish they wouldn't do that. And people would go on TV and say, I wish they wouldn't do that. It doesn't make baseball as much fun. And then the franchise would say, well, that's what we're going to do because it's in our best interest. And then people would say, well, I wish you wouldn't do it because, it's just fun to watch baseball in a more traditional way. Mm-hmm. And the franchises would say, well, we have data that says this is what we should be doing, so we're going to do it. This gives us our best chance to win. And these conversations went back and forth for years. And then you know what they finally did? They just said, okay, the shift is banned. You can't do it anymore. You're not allowed to. And so the conversation's over. We don't talk about it anymore. You can't keep trying to tell people that the stars need to play. You need to figure out why it is that they don't think the stars need to play and then address that. Because launch your investigation. You know what you're going to find out? That the Sixers believe barely playing Joel Embiid during the regular season gives them the best chance to actually hang a banner in their home arena. And once they have subscribed to that, it doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. just once they have subscribed to that, I don't know what you're supposed to do practically as a league to make them do something otherwise. Again, it's not too different than Shohei Ohtani might be capable of pitching Friday night in Game 1 of the World Series, but the Dodgers have decided that we don't think it's in our best interest for him to do that. And if the Dodgers have decided that, how would Major League Baseball ever get in the way of it? The NBA is now trying to get in the way of how the Sixers have decided they want to handle their most precious and expensive assets. I just practically, I don't know you're ever going to get to a place that's going to make much sense.
Number 3.
And this story is kind of something similar. Barack Obama, he's the former president, you know that.
Yes.
Went on a podcast hosted by Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep.
And among other things, told Tyrese Halliburton that he and the other NBA All-Stars need to take the All-Star game more seriously and start competing again. Because as President Obama said, I'm a diehard basketball fan. I'm not watching anymore. And if you've lost me, you've lost a lot of people like me. And if you lose a lot of people like me, at some point, Turner or Amazon or NBC or ABC, they start saying, why are we paying so much money for this event that you guys aren't even interested in competing in? Nobody watches it. We're going to stop paying for it. They stop paying for it. Then revenue goes down, salary cap goes down, salaries go down. You guys can see how all this connected. You need to change your ways. We've had this conversation before. It's another thing with the NBA. Stop scolding these players for not doing what you think they should do and start trying to figure out why they don't do it. And if you don't get a good answer there, then you've got a fundamental problem with your workplace employees. This is evidence that the NBA has a real problem, is that there's always these types of stories connected to why don't the players play? Why don't they play hard? Why don't they care about winning? These are not things we talk about in baseball. It's not things we talk about in the NFL. It's not things we talk about in college football or college basketball. But it is something we talk about in the NBA. They got to clean all this stuff up somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL, they don't even have an all-star game. They don't do the Pro Bowl anymore. But they don't have to. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter for them. They're the cash cow. I do. Baseball, they do. I mean, it's now there's not as much punishment to your body as in an actual basketball game, in a baseball game necessarily. So I can understand that, you don't want to get hurt in the All-Star game if you're an NBA player. But I'm with you. You got to figure it out because the ratings have gone down. I do think that they've either got to treat it like a real basketball game and play hard, or maybe do something else. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Nobody is asking them and has ever asked them to treat it like Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Right.
But as President Obama pointed out, this whole we don't want to get hurt argument holds no weight whatsoever, because you guys do play pickup all offseason.
That's true.
And you play harder in pickup behind closed doors than you play in the All-Star game.
That's
so
a great
don't tell
point.
me it's about not wanting to get hurt, because because all offseason, every week, you're playing in pickup games and you're going harder than you go in the actual All-Star game. So it's not about that. I've actually talked to Wally Zerbiak and other friends of mine who have been in All-Star games. You know what they tell you the reason is? They're exhausted. By the time you get to Sunday,
that's your break.
They are. Well, it's nothing but parties and appearances the whole time you're there. You're going to a Nike event, going straight to dinner, going to a party, waking up the next day. You're going to a Chevrolet event, another dinner, another party. You're not practicing at all.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that you get there and practice, you don't. The first time you touch a ball might really be, when you are warming up for the All-Star game. And that's what Wally said. It's just by the time you get to Sunday, it's not that we're scared of getting hurt. It's just we are exhausted. Everybody's been going full speed, and nobody wants to really exert any energy in that game.
Well, maybe that's
fine.
the answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would just say, okay, that's fine. But then I guess this is what I would, if I were Adam Silver, because guilt tripping hasn't worked. Telling them how Kobe treated this game hasn't worked. President Obama talking to Tyrese Halliburton is not going to work. You know what I tell them? And obviously there's contracts involved and we got to work through all that. But my basic message would be this. Guys, I've done everything I know to do. This is one of our biggest in-season events, if not our biggest in-season event. It's not the Friday night doubleheaders on ESPN. It's not the, whatever night doubleheaders on TNT. It's All-Star Weekend. Turner has paid a lot of money for this. Networks have paid a lot of money for this. The reason we're able to pay you $67 million a year is in part because they are paying us X amount of dollars for this weekend. But you guys aren't taking it seriously. I've tried to talk to you about it. It hasn't worked. Before he passed, Kobe talked to you about it. It didn't work. President Obama's talked to you about it. It hasn't worked. So the ratings are down. People don't care. Even the biggest basketball fan among presidents we've ever had told one of you face to face he doesn't care and he's not watching anymore. So here's where we're at. I'm just being honest with you. We're going to hold the next All-Star game, and you guys can do whatever you want to do. I'm not here to talk to you about it anymore. As soon as I say this, I'm walking out and we're done. Do whatever you want to do. But I and the rest of the world will be watching, and we'll make a judgment at the end of it. If you show effort, we'll try to continue to improve this thing. If you don't, we're done with it. Yeah. We're just going to move away from it. And I bet you'll regret it if we do. So let's not go there. Let's work together. It's in our best interest, all of our best interest, to have All-Star Weekend. It has, once upon a time, historically, it was a big deal. It can be again. But we're losing it because of the effort you guys are not showing. And if you can't do better, we'll take this away. And when the salary cap goes down and you're no longer getting the contracts that, Bobby Marks was projecting you to get, this will be among the reasons why. I'm telling you right now how this can unfold. We can all make a lot more money and have this incredible weekend every year, or we can just can it and everybody's revenue goes down. It's not up to me. If it was up to me, we would have solved this a decade ago. It's up to you guys. Now handle it however you want to. Got to be, do this right, take it seriously, or we'll take it away. Because the way they're doing it right now isn't sustainable. When Barack Obama says, I don't care about All-Star Weekend anymore, you've got a big problem. And again, these are the things that are only really big issues in the NBA. You got franchises telling you they don't care about the regular season, players telling you they don't care about the All-Star game, and franchises and players both telling you playing as often as you can, even while healthy, is not the primary goal. Winning your division is not a goal. Winning the conference, or at least having the best record in the conference in the regular season, not a goal. You don't hear baseball franchises say this. NFL franchises say this. This is, if not entirely unique to the NBA, pretty close to it. And it's all stuff that's got to be addressed at some point.
Number 4.
NC State quarterback Grayson McCall is retiring from football following his latest head injury that he suffered earlier this month. He announced this yesterday. It's a young man who had what appeared to be a concussion in his most recent outing. It followed another concussion that he suffered last season while playing for Coastal Carolina. I guess I bring this up because this is the other side of the Tua Tagovailoa story. The Tua Tagovailoa story is a bigger story because he's quarterback of the Dolphins and because that's the NFL. But here's a young man taking more or less the exact same information, the exact same situation, and deciding, I can't do this anymore. Now, it's a college quarterback as opposed to somebody with a contract in excess of $100 million. So maybe it's just as simple as that. But I just thought it was interesting in the same week, you got two people dealing with similar sets of circumstances and handling it completely different ways. Grayson McCall more or less says he just cannot imagine going back out there. As much as he loves football, can't imagine going back out there and taking another hit that could cause real long-term damage to his life. And Tua Tagovailoa more or less says he can't imagine not going out there and doing it again, even if it does cause long-term damage to his life. I think I made it clear earlier this week. I'm at a point now where I don't care. If everybody can make their own decision. It was one thing in a different era of football when people really didn't know the dangers of playing that sport. They quite literally hid the information from us, from the players, in a way that is obviously shameful and disgraceful. But in the year 2024, same way we all know what smoking can do to you, what drinking can do to you, we all know what playing football can do to you. Grayson McCall knows what playing football can do to you, and he's made this decision. Tua Tagovailoa knows what playing football can do to you, and he's made the other decision. I'm happy to leave it up to everybody at this point. I don't walk around every day spotting people smoking cigarettes and walk over to them and try to tell them about how my grandfather died from smoking and my father died from smoking, and I'd hate to see you go down the same path. Like, they know the warnings are on the package. You know, we 30 years ago, maybe you didn't know, but you do know today, and that's your decision. Same way, like, you know, I don't want to act like I'm living some clean life. You know, I probably have a few more vodka drinks sometimes than a doctor would recommend. It's a decision I'm making. I know it's not the best thing for me, but, you know, I enjoy a drink every once in a while. So we're all adults. We can all make our own decisions. I respect Grayson McCall's, but I also respect Tua Tagovailoa's. I understand Grayson McCall's more than I understand Tua Tagovailoa's, but I respect them both.
Number 5.
We got a brand new Dear Jane, Bennett.
What's going on?
Oh, buddy. It's an interesting situation we got going on here.
What's going on?
Well, okay, so it's a young woman. She has written to Jane. One of the things I've learned about Dear Jane is it is often young women or just women in general writing to Jane, and this is not the exception to the rule. It's a young woman writing to Jane. You ready for it?
What'd she say?
Oh, man, she's got an issue on her hands.
I'm ready.
She's going to ask you. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Here's what she wrote. I'm just going to read you the letter. I have been happily married to my husband for 2 years now. We met when I was in my late 20s, and we tied the knot when I was 31. I'd never had a serious relationship before, and I used to travel around for work, so I'll admit that I had slept with a fair few people before we met. Not that it's something we ever discussed. Last week, however, my husband told me his best friend had discovered his girlfriend's body count and was horrified by the total. His girlfriend had admitted to sleeping with 20 people, a number judged by my husband and his friend to be, quote, extremely high.
Okay.
Then, out of curiosity, he asked me what my body count was, and having heard his outrage at 20, I decided to lie. A little panicked, I claimed I'd slept with no more than 15 guys. It turned out that my husband was disturbed even by that lower estimate and admitted that he found, quote, so many sexual partners to be a little off-putting. Yet the truth is that I've slept with well over 50 men, so many that I've lost count.
Oh.
Now, I don't know what to do. Should I stick to my lie and just hope the subject never comes up again, or accept that if my husband has a problem with my number of former lovers, then he's not the one for me? From Previously Promiscuous.
I think
Previously Promiscuous. I think that's my.
I like that.
I think that used to be my nickname as well. I used to be Previously Promiscuous.
I think you just stick to the lie. I mean, how is he going to do? Prove it? Like,
yeah, what's he going to do? Prove it?
Yeah, just stick to the lie.
I think stick to the lie is the right way to go, and just hope it never comes up. And more than that, just don't even care if it ever comes up again.
Yeah,
just stick to the lie.
I've never understood this. I actually kind of side with her in this because, like, and I met my wife in my late 20s. We got married in our early 30s, and I just never cared about that. Like, what?
Why would you? I never understand why people care about that. Why on earth would you care about something somebody did before they met you?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I've never been able to wrap. I mean, I guess there's some
I care if she was
where
a criminal in her past life, but
I don't know that I would want to be in a relationship with somebody who didn't enjoy sex before I existed.
Right. Like if she had a STD or something, I might be like, damn, what did you do before we met? But she didn't. So yeah, I don't. That's never something that I've cared about.
I just don't. Yeah, I never understood why anybody would care. Like we come to this place in our lives where we meet each other. Let's talk about everything that happens from that point forward. But why would I care what you did 6 months before you met me, or what I did 6 months before? Like what? Like what? I don't even know how it could be a part of the conversation, or why it would be.
Yeah, her husband seems a little uptight. I'm just being honest.
Seemed a little uptight, buddy.
Like, what's the difference between? I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, what's the difference between 15 and 10? Like, why does that number have significance to you?
What's the difference between 15 and 50? Who cares? Like, here's the way.
50's pretty intense. 50's intense.
Well, here's the way I've always thought of it. All right, or at least I don't want to say. I always say things like that. Like, this is the way I've always thought of it, as if I've thought the way I think at 47 my entire life. Clearly, this isn't true. It's not the way I've always thought of it. It is clearly, hand to heart, the way I've thought about it for a while. I was once young and single and in bars a lot. If I had the ability to walk out of the bar every night with a young woman I was attracted to and take her home, how often would I have done that? How often? Let me ask you, Ben. How often would you do? You have the ability to walk out of a bar every night with someone you're attracted to, and they are ready to go home with you if you want them to. How often would you have done that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to answer that.
Every night.
I don't want to.
Every night. You went out every night when you were young, hoping that would happen. All right. It almost never did. For you, I'm assuming.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
But that's what you were hoping for every time. It would be like your dream if some woman you were attracted to walked up to you in a bar and was like, "Hey, you want to get out of here?"
Yeah.
That's like your dream. You would every time you would say yes every time. All right. You just would.
Yeah.
You would. Okay. You ready for this? Every pretty young woman has that ability every day. Every pretty young woman on this planet has that ability every day. They can go home with somebody they're attracted to every single day. So why would I judge them for doing it? Because I would do it if I were them. That's what I wanted to do. I was trying to do it.
It's a fair point. Also, the math strikes again. I've realized, like, I'm 37. We did not get married in our 30s. We've been married 11. We've been married 11 years. So I don't know what's wrong with me. It's just.
I wish your wife would tell you your body count, but do it in a math problem, and you would never figure it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. Yeah.
She would be like, my body count is 70 minus 57, and you're like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that checks out.
That's not bad, right? Yeah. That sounds good. Sounds good enough to me. I'm anti-caring about body counts. If that's what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be, man. That Gary Parrish, I don't know if he talked about the NFL enough, but I really did appreciate how he was against shaming people for their body counts. That's what I hope my legacy is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Do you know what Jane said?
What did Jane say? I think Jane said something similar to what I said, is you shouldn't care about what happened before you two got together. That's what I'm going to lean towards.
Jane said it's a tough spot. On one hand, it is sensible and understandable that you might just say, hey, if we woke up so let's say you had this weird conversation and you tell your husband your body count's 15 and he's like, what? Ugh. Like, he really does have this weird reaction to it.
Yeah.
All right. Did you wake up the next day? Is it over? Is everything cool? Are we back to being cool and it never comes up again? Because if so, maybe you can just let the lie sit, right? That's understandable. But what Jane is afraid of is that this is a red flag. What Jane is afraid of is that if you are married to somebody who is actually genuinely bothered by the idea that you slept with 15 people before him, then it could be a red flag. Like, you might end up having other problems. You might just really there might be other things you run into. Yeah, I think I just keep with the lie and hope it never comes up again.
Yeah, me too. Jane's wrong again.
I don't think she's wrong. I don't want to say Jane's wrong. I just
like our solution better.
I don't feel qualified enough to say that Jane's wrong. I'm not comfortable doing that. But what I am comfortable saying, I think, is that I believe if I were giving you advice, if this were your problem, Bennett, I think I would say, when did this awkward conversation between you and your wife happen? And you'd say, 2 weeks ago. And I'd say, has it come up ever again? Are you guys cool? Was last night awesome? And if you're like, yeah, everything's fine, then just let it sit there.
Yeah.
And just let it sit there. If it comes up again, let me know. We'll revisit it. I might then advise you just to tell the truth and say, and then like flip it around. Maybe you get aggressive with it. Maybe you flip it around and say, hey, I want to talk to you, buddy. Hey, I got something I want to talk to you about. Remember when I told you my body count was 15 and you acted like I'm a whore? All right. Well, here's the truth. It's closer to 50 probably. Truth is, I don't know. I don't know. All right. I don't know how many people I slept with. I was young and single and traveling. All right. But here's what I know. I know I love you. And I know since the moment I've told you I love you, I've only ever been with you. And if I'm not good enough for you, then tell me now and we can move on our ways and I'll go find the 58th person I'm going to sleep with by lunchtime. Sometimes you got to flip it around, Bennett. Sometimes you got to pop out. You think that would work? Flipping it around like that?
I doubt it. I doubt that would work.
I doubt it.
No,
I doubt it would work. But it sounds tough though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
It sounds tough. I don't know if it will work, but it sounds tough. I would just continue to lie, I think, and hope it never comes up. But I respect Jane's opinion. She's the professional out of all of us. That goes without saying. We'll be back with GP's Carryout.
John Cena was spilling life lessons on this stream, bro. So the best thing I watched all week, John Cena on the Cosnet stream. By the way, he stole your hairdo. You got to make a phone call.
I was about to say, you showed me a little bit of this clip because I saw the messy room, and the only thing I could see is John Cena's hair. I mean, come on, bro.
He stole your bar.
It's literally identical.
He stole your flow, bar for bar, word for word.
How is mine more gray than his, though?
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
You know, we got to talk about Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie has inked that contract, and he is now officially off the two-way. He is a member of the regular rotation.
Well-deserved, from my opinion. Like, he straight up earned this one from all the time put in last season with the injuries to Summer League.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Fans, don't miss the exciting return of Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Glow Party at FedEx Forum. Don't miss the world premiere of Stegosaurus. Watch your favorite Hot Wheels Monster Trucks light up the floor, including Gungster, Bone Shaker, and the legendary Bigfoot. Plus the dazzling dance party, laser light show, and more. And save up to 50% on kids' tickets. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind Hot Wheels experience at FedEx Forum, November 2nd and 3rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
At Southland Casino Hotel, it's time to work hard, play hard with our $500,000 giveaway. Earn entries October through November 9th and take home free play and amazing prizes on select Saturdays, including a big rig. Stay connected on social media for weekly drawing clues. Join us November 9th for the grand finale drawing where you could drive off in a four-wheeler, side-by-side, or big rig. Work hard and play harder at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in Kansas City. I was here yesterday for Big 12 Media Day. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis inside the Built Ford Tough studio. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but I think the most important thing, I'm starting the most important thing. Ben and I have come out. We're anti body count shaming. We don't do it.
Yes, we are.
We don't do it. Do people talk about body counts? Is this something actual couples really talk about? Like, have you ever?
I'm sure they do. I have not really with my wife.
I don't think I don't remember ever really having a conversation about it. I don't ever really remember. I guess I always assumed I'd come out on the wrong end of that conversation anyway.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass myself.
I just figured it probably wouldn't be a good conversation for me, so I'd best avoid it. I'm just curious though. Tell me that. How do you think it even comes up? How do you think it? Because I would like to ask people about their body count sometimes. It just never feels appropriate. I would like to talk to people about their body counts, but it never feels appropriate. How does it come up?
I don't think you just approach it.
How do you end up? Okay, so you meet somebody, and then you start dating. How do you start talking about your body count with them? How does that happen? How do you get to that conversation?
Oh, I think
probably alcohol.
Yeah. You had some drinks. You start talking a little freaky.
Pretend I'm on a date with you, and I'm a woman.
I don't want to do that.
Pretend I'm on a date with you. I'm a woman, and you want to find out my body count.
Okay.
Show me how you would go around about doing that.
Hey, so while we're talking and spilling all our secrets, what's your body count? That sounds like you make a good point. Like, how the hell do you even get in that conversation?
How do you start talking about it? Like, I'm pretty good at talking, but I don't know how I would bring it up. Like, I'm around women all the time, like at baseball games and stuff. How would I go about asking one of these little moms about their body count? I can't do that, can I?
You can't. Please don't do that, actually. Yeah, do not do that.
What if I try to pull it out this weekend at the baseball tournament?
Okay, actually, yeah, do it. I want to, and then report back on Monday.
Hey,
yeah,
listen,
go for it.
Little so-and-so, I really like the way he fielded that ball at third earlier. Hey,
quick question.
What's your body count? Where's your body count sit? How do you even ask somebody for their body count?
I think you should try.
Forget whether it's an important conversation or not. Like, how do you even get to that conversation?
Yeah.
Like, so many other conversations you have are easy to get to. Like, where do you work? You know, that's pretty good. So, you got any children? Hey, where'd you grow up? All these sound easy. Hey, what's your body count? It's just a hard thing to say out loud to another person. Maybe that's why I never had these conversations, because I didn't even know how to start them. I'm sure somebody knows. I bet Devin knows. I bet Devin knows how to ask about a body count.
I'll ask him.
Ask him and hit me back.
What's today's biggest game?
Thursday night football.
Oh yeah, we do have a game tonight.
Yes, Thursday, Bennett. Thursday night football. The Minnesota Vikings are 5-1. Did you even notice?
Oh yeah, they're really good.
The Rams are only 2-4. We're going to do this one in SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road. The total's 48.5. How you going to act?
I mean, Sam Darnold's kind of come back to earth a little bit since this amazing start. It's in LA. I'll go Vikings. Yeah. I don't feel great about it, but just because the Rams still kind of have that championship pedigree. Like, Matt Stafford's still the quarterback. They're getting Cooper Kupp back.
For now.
They're getting Cooper Kupp back tonight, it looks like. I'm still going to go Vikings. I think Vikings can handle the 3. Yeah.
They have no home field advantage. People don't care about them. They ain't loved. They
have it better than the Chargers do, for sure.
Yeah, but they ain't loved.
I think that they're getting there. The Chargers do not whatsoever. Like, nobody cares about them in LA.
Kendrick got a better chance filling up that football stadium than the Rams.
That might be true. Yeah, I'm gonna go Vikings. It feels weird.
Funny business.
I know. NFL lines are never that big. I'm surprised it's not a touchdown. Like, I'm surprised it's not, Vikings -7 or something like that. Gets my antennas up a little bit.
Bennett's antennas are up, but he's taking the Vikings anyway. Vikings -3. Kickoff 7:15. You'll be able to watch it on Prime Video.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in It's Florida, man?
I have seen this. It's on HBO, right? Or Max.
Yeah.
It's stories
You see
about
it?
Florida Man, right?
It's a late night series bringing to life unbelievable tales from Florida, featuring interviews with locals and comedic reenactments starring a rotating cast of actors and comedians covering diverse topics with humor and heart. So here's what it is. They take a real crazy story, like some crazy stuff, something that happened in Florida. And then they get people who like lived through it to discuss it. And then they get actors, comedians to reenact it. It sounds, I could maybe try that. I could try it on a flight. Maybe I could give it a shot. I could give it its day in court.
Maybe. I'm not a big fan of like the reenactment stuff. I want to see like the video. I mean, dude, come on. We talk about the videos we see in here every single day on Twitter. So like, I kind of need like the real deal. Like I need to see what actually happened.
I think I need to see what actually happened.
Yeah, if this was just a series about this same topic, but they had like the real videos of what happened, then I'm in.
Well, the world's not perfect, Bennett.
Right.
The world's not perfect. It's Florida Man, streaming on Max app right now. You can check it out if you want to.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, I told you I was at Big 12 Media Day. And when I left there, I came right back to this hotel room and wrote a column about how the Big 12 really might be on the verge of having what is reasonably considered the toughest conference season in the history of men's college basketball. 5 teams in the top 10 of the AP poll. Literally 50% of the top 10 is coming from the Big 12. 0 of the 16 teams outside of the top 90 at KenPom. So you got super strong programs at the top. No garbage at the bottom. Depth throughout. If you want to read it, you can do it right now. CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Friday. I'll be back in studio in Memphis, God willing. Jessica Benson will join me in the second segment. She'll help us get ready for what should be another fun weekend of college football. Looking forward to it already. Can't wait to get going. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We're going to try to meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.
How much have you added weight since you were here?
Bro, I think I was like 220?
Ricky,
like
you were
40 pounds.
You
I'm
were
like 265.
You 265 right now?
In between that and like 273, I'm floating in there.
You have looked at a scale and it said 273.
With shoes on, but still.
Too little.
That's not phone posits either, right?
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Congratulations to the Vanderbilt Commodores. They have actually hit the over on their win total for the season. Winning number 3. Their total was 2.5.
Hey, listen. If I had told you Vanderbilt was going to hit the over on their win total against Alabama, you guys would have kicked me off the show.
Crazy. Absolutely insane.
I tried to argue that they were going to be bowl eligible.
And I said that was good. And they still might not be.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.